What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Zach here with Good Game Nation, bringing you my law deck. This is the deck that I used to get top eight at a recent manga ace tournament. There were 92 players, I think it was. Um, 6 rounds of Swiss, best of one. I went 5-1, and third seed overall. I lost in top eight because I got greedy. Uh, I had the option. Top eight had the option of playing best of one until the finals or playing best of three through top cut. Me wanting to have the best options and the best uh, odds, I said, well, my deck's really good in best of three, so I'm going to choose best of three. So I forced us to play best of three. I won game one and then got high rolled game two and three. Game three, I ended up seeing 5 red cards, which is absurd because we played 33, 17 red cards or green cards, I want to say. So it was kind of unfortunate. But overall, the deck is phenomenal. The one-ofs were perfect. Uh, the list felt very, very smooth. I highly recommend it. And, without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into some of the choices and why we do them here. But I want to touch on the amount of targets that we have, right? Like we have quite a bit of an even stretch. Each of the Namis have 15 targets that they can search. Uh, the Dodon has 15 targets that she can search. Each Bonnie has 20 targets they can search. Uh, so there's a lot of fluidness to the deck, and it just feels really good, man. Like if you play Dragon Ball, like, it just feels like you're just playing Storm, honestly, because you're just like, all right, well, how many attacks can I do this turn? I think I can kill you. And there was a time, multiple times throughout the tournament, where I was like, you're at 4 life. My board state is I got 2 attackers currently on the board. I have a Rush Zoro in my hand plus my leader. I think I can kill you this turn if I'm gonna be honest. And most of the time it worked. So again, the deck is just crazy strong, right? But so I'm gonna go ahead and get into the one-ofs, and then we'll touch on everything else. So yes, I play one jet pistol. No, I'm not crazy. You do not need it. The current meta isn't like ripe for it, and there's a lot of black out here, uh, at least in the western part of the hemisphere. I don't know how it is like Miami and all them. I think they're still like red, green, all those things. But like out here on the west coast, there's a lot of black, and Jet Pistol's kind of just ass against that deck, and Jet Pistol's kind of ass against Whitebeard. So you just don't really find the need for it when Zoro is and was the most represented deck, right? So like I needed to be able to beat Zoro because they want to go second. So we cut the pistol for the fourth copy of the Vista. Because if we're gonna go first, we want to be able to do more things. And you can't jet pistol on 3 mana. And jet pistoling on 4 mana just feels like you're so far behind that you shouldn't play that game anyway. Just go next. So I don't if we could cut it, we could cut it. Like I don't mind it. If you want to say play a second Rush Zoro over, I would do it. But that's just me and my comfort and like how I feel. I'm an aggressive player. Leading into that, we play one versus Zoro, right? Like there's just something about being able to win the game from having nothing, and that's like it's like Champa to me. Like for all you Dragon Ball guys out there, like that's how I view Zoro. It just wins the game for you because you have so many ways to abuse it. Like even if you're blown out, you don't have a board. Like you have Zoro in any of your 2 laws, and you have multiple attacks. You have 3 attacks off that with your leader. So like you're never truly out of the game if you have the Rush Zoro, and that's why I play the one of. Uh, I don't recommend playing more than that, outside of, like I said, you could cut the pistol for it. I'm okay with that. But there's a lot of cards that we're currently playing that don't have a lot of counter. Like we're playing three of the starter Zoros as well. We'll get into why, but you could kind of mix that around. I just don't want to have a bunch of dead cards in my hand, especially when we have two viable targets to search it with. We have Nami, plus we have Bonnie. And those search the Zoro. They also both search the jet pistol. So again, if you want to make that switch, perfectly fine by me. I would probably try that out myself and let you know how I feel about it. The other one of is, you know, is Whitebeard, bro. Like this card is cracked. I don't care who tells you it's not, who says it's bad in law. Why would we play it? 9 mana seems so high. What are we doing? Blah blah blah. This card really good. Just know how to play it, right? Like it's a card that's worthy of being like a secret rare in Dragon Ball terms. Like this is a one of, and that's exactly how I view it. Like this card, when you play this card, you should play this card to secure the victory for you. You don't just willy nilly slam it down. Because if you do that, like there's a solid chance that you just lose. If you slam it into a board state where they already have a relatively established board state and you tap out for it, who cares? Whatever, you're 7K. The math is just a little bit different, but not much different. This is the card that you play when your board states are even. You're in an even game and you're trying to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This is the card that sends it over the edge. Every time I played this card throughout my testing and throughout the tournament, I did not lose those games. The time this card hits the board, we do not lose those games because that card is actually game ending if played properly. So then I guess the other cards that don't stick out as opposed to like all the other Zoro lists are the other Zoros that I'm playing. Right, like I play 3 starter deck Zoros. The main reason we play this is for Whitebeard. Right, like again, we mentioned it in previous videos. Whitebeard is cracked. It's progressively getting more and more popular. It just did back-to-back regionals. I think it took up top 4 spots out of one of them and like 15 out of another. It was insane. Uh, this card, it handles. I don't want to say handles, but it generates pressure against Whitebeard, and it gives them another target that they have to worry about. And like I personally had mentioned earlier in a previous video, I like going first into Whitebeard. Yes, because I'm aggressive. I want to swing the first turn because guess what? You're still going to be at 4 life. Right? You're going to take your life, you're going to take the damage. Guess what? You're at 4, and then on the next turn you're at 3. I'm already winning. Right? And if I take the hit from you, that's cool. I'll go to I play law at 1 life, 2 life, 0 life. The first 2 attacks don't matter. Give me more cards, let me have more things to do. Like you're a toolbox deck at its finest. The ceiling is through the roof. There's no limit to what you can do, and the Zoro just creates pressure. Same thing with the green one. It's a 6K body, right? And 6K is the number to hit Whitebeard, right? Like you want to hit Whitebeard for 6 because you naturally don't have to invest anything, and they now have to invest cards because they don't want to take 2 life for free, right? Like their leader already says they play the game at a somewhat quote unquote disadvantage, but it's not a disadvantage, right? Like the leader's cracked. But it forces them to play differently if you can naturally just threaten them. So that's why we play these Zoros. And again, they're searchable by 2 targets. Uh, they're also very, very good because they're supernovas. So they allow both of our laws to, well, primarily the restand law. But the value you get out of it is insane. Like you can slap some Dawn onto any of them, swing, play the law, restand it, swing again. Uh, there's so many things that you could do, and it creates a better mid game for you because your early game, outside of summoning bodies, you don't really do much. Right? Like your turn 1, turn 2, you're summoning some bodies. And against some decks, that's just not enough. Like you have to exert pressure during those turns. So being able to play Zoro is a very big point. Um, Outside of that, everything's pretty standard, right? Like we got our one drop package. There's a ton of them in the deck. But this deck was built to go second. I prefer to go second. You can play first. That's why we played the fourth Vista and higher Zoro counts, so you have something to do that creates pressure on turn two. But ideally, you want to go second, right? Like your opening hand wants to go Dodon into like Nami, and then your next turn is like we're gonna play 4/1 drops. We're gonna play Nami, Bonnie, Chopper, and like an Otama. Right? Who cares? There's times where ideally you don't want a Otama and Machina, but sometimes if you can get five guys on the board on your 4 mana turn and they can't deal with it, it doesn't matter because you get to add them back to your hand. Like you can summon double Otama. There was a time where I summoned double Otama, a Nami, and I want to say it was a beige. After like that was my turn two. After I did Dawned on turn one, and then I was able to law. Like I go Machina, tap, add a couple Dawn to Otama, swing 5k. Bounce Otama for law, bounce the Machina back, play a Zoro for pressure, play a Vista to kill something. There's so many things that you can do. I played the Zoro for pressure in that scenario because I didn't have anything on the board to kill, but we had the option to play the Vista. Right. So those are just things that you can do. Ideally, you want to go second. You want to curve out. If you go first, as long as you see like a 1 drop, a 3 drop, and a blocker wall, keep the hand. Keep it. You'll get there. I promise you'll get there. Like, as long as you stay the course, you'll get there. And is Brook's like the chef's kiss. You know, that's my favorite card in the deck. It does a lot of work if you abuse it, and you can abuse it. You can add it back to your hand with your leader effect. You can add it back to your hand with law and replay it. It generates a body by just summon it to the board, and when you summon it, it says give something 2k, right? So like summon Brook, my leader automatically threatens damage. Summon Brook, my 1 drops threaten damage. Summon Brook, my Dodon is swinging, my Vista is swinging with no other Dawn requirement. And then you get to bounce that back, play a law, bounce something else back, replay the, and then give something else 2k. So you can just add 4k to something out of nowhere. And if you got double Brook, it could get crazy, man. It could get out of hand. Brook is the value that you get from Brook, in particularly this deck, is through the roof. You guys have heard me talk about it before. Like value, value, value is the name of the game. That's how I play the game. That's how I've always viewed the game. We're always on the train to value town. That's what we're doing. The rest of it doesn't matter. And every card in the deck generates some type of value from us. And Brook just creates the most amount of value. You can make the argument for the blocker law because the card is also just insane, but it's Brook for me all day, every day. I don't think you have a bad matchup. Purple is your least favored matchup for sure, but even then, I don't think it's bad. And again, I touched on that. That's because we play the Rush Zoro, so you can pressure them early, and when they blow your board, you know most players we get scared, right? Like you're like, oh man, I don't have a board anymore. What do I do? But having the Rush Zoro, if you've got them down far enough, you can get there. So it's not an unwinnable matchup. It's hard, but it's not unwinnable. Whitebeard, Zoro, all those other decks, much easier to deal with. Green, free, absolutely free. Like on farm, free. You shouldn't lose to Kinemon. You shouldn't lose to Kid. If you lose to Odin, I don't know what you did wrong, but we got to reevaluate that somewhere, and we'll figure it out because it just shouldn't happen. Your blue matchup also feels very, very, very strong. I mean, Ivankov can do Ivankov things, and if they high roll, they high roll, right? Like it is what it is. and your black matchup also feels very, very good. Anytime you get to go second in this particular list, you feel like you've already done part of the work, even though you've only won the title. Those are my thoughts on the deck. I've put quite a bit of time into it over the last month and a half of testing, getting ready for these big tournaments, and et cetera, et cetera. It performed well. I think it's the best deck, man. It has the highest ceiling in the game, and because of that, I feel like it's the best deck in the game. That's why I finally played it. That's why we started seeing all kinds of bad results. This deck is cracked, man. You guys should play it. Try it out. Let me know what you think. Give me some advice. Let me know if there's things I should play, right? Like there was one point, iterations, surprise, you could play Whitey Bay. Green can't handle that card either. But the matchup is free. So yeah, that's the deck. You guys let me know how you feel about it. Let me know. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate it very much. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Take it easy. Have a good night. Later.
I cannot believe you mentioned Whitey Bay.
Oh yeah, it's in there.
That's factual. I have a message where he was playing Whitey Bay for sure.
We were testing, and some guy went turn 1 Raizo, and I was like,
Whitey Bay.
Sick. Turn 2 Whitey, double Whitey Bay, and he was like, what the fuck is that card? And he read it, and he was like,